Hello, this is the Wizard of Oz, Complex Adaptive Systems and Complex Response Processes Project by Mark Villarreal. Hello, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mark Villarreal, and I'm a current MBA student at Texas State University. I received my undergraduate degree in the ALS program at Texas State in 2021. I'm currently employed at Shimatsu Precision Instruments in Austin, where I'm a sales manager and currently work with my wife at her business, NXD Transportation. I have experience in the manufacturing industry, assuming several roles over the entirety of my career, and currently oversee sales in the fluidics division, which sells hydraulic gear pumps and valves designed for forklift and heavy industrial equipment. The film I decided to choose was The Wizard of Oz. The film is a classic and was released in 1939 by MGM Studios. The movie has been highly regarded by critics and is considered one of the greatest movies of all time. I did not much link the movie to the assignment at the beginning of the semester, but hoped I could gather more information along the semester. The movie follows a young girl on her amazing adventure through a land of magic and has many memorable scenes and underlying messages. We'll get to that a little later. Presentation overview. I will begin with a summary of the movie, including the plot, the storyline, and the characters. I will include insight into the application of complex adaptive systems and complex response systems regarding the movie The Wizard of Oz. I will then wrap up the presentation with a brief conclusion, including opinions and insight. System agents. So we have 4 system agents here that I'm going to use in this example. So Dorothy is the main character of the story who gets whisked away to the land of Oz after a tornado hits her family's farm. She is the heart and soul of the story and gives meaning to the phrase, "There's no place like home." Number 2 is the Scarecrow. Dorothy finds the Scarecrow first at the beginning of her journey, hanging from a pole, and decides to help him down. The Scarecrow needs a brain and thinks one will make him smarter and open the world to him by way of thinking. Number 3 is the Tin Man. Dorothy and the Scarecrow encounter the Tin Man, a character made of metal who is rusted solid. They decide to help him by oiling him up, and he too needs something he doesn't have, a heart. He joins Dorothy on the adventure and hopes the wizard can give him a heart. Number 4 is the Cowardly Lion. Finally, Dorothy encounters the Cowardly Lion, who is a big scared cat, and hopes to find what he is lacking, and that's courage. The lion joins the quest last and hopes the wizard can give him some courage. These 4 characters make up a complex adaptive system and consist of the heterogeneous agents that make decisions about how to behave, interact, and evolve over time. Throughout the movie, each of these main characters is learning, growing, adapting, and evolving through their experiences while on the journey in Oz. Some assisting characters that help this movie progress. The Wicked Witch of the West, the antagonist of the story, and the sister to the Wicked Witch of the East, who was killed after Dorothy's home lands on top of her. She is number 1. Number 2 is Glinda, the Witch of the North. She's an important assistant character and responsible for meeting Dorothy and giving her the red ruby slippers. She is also responsible for helping Dorothy find her way back home. Number 3 is Auntie Em and Uncle Henry, and they're Dorothy's family and are the reason Dorothy is on her journey back home to be with them. Number 4 is the supposed great and powerful Oz. Even though he wasn't so great after all, he still helped give all the main characters exactly what they wanted. The storyline. In the movie The Wizard of Oz starts off in Kansas, when a young girl named Dorothy, played by Judy Garland, lives on a farm with her Uncle Henry and Auntie Em. The movie opens up with Dorothy feeling unhappy about her current life situation and her having a desire for a more fulfilling life, over the rainbow as she refers to it. However, things for Dorothy would soon seem to take a turn for the worse. When a tornado approaches her family's farm, Dorothy enters her home seeking refuge and is knocked unconscious by a flying loose window shortly after entering her house. Dorothy in her unconsciousness, experiences an out of this world sequence as the tornado lifts her house into the sky. At this point, the movie then transitions from the black and white reality of Kansas to the colorful world of Oz. After Dorothy's house lands in Oz, she steps outside and discovers a strange world much different than what she was previously accustomed to. While exploring her surroundings, she is introduced to the native Munchkins who reside in the land her house landed on, and Glinda, the good witch of the north. Dorothy is then shocked to discover her home has landed on a wicked witch, instantly killing her, and now the natives and Glinda think she is a hero. Glinda gives Dorothy the dead witch's ruby slippers and explains to her they possess magical powers and can be dangerous in the wrong hands. At this point, the Wicked Witch of the West appears and threatens to harm Dorothy if she does not give her back the slippers. Glinda then advises Dorothy to head to Emerald City, where she can seek the help of the Wizard of Oz to help her find her way back to Kansas. Dorothy then begins her journey down the yellow brick road to Emerald City and encounters the three main characters of the story: the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. Every character she meets needs something they believe the Wizard of Oz can provide them and will change their lives forever. With this common goal, they all decide the benefits of the journey far outweigh the risks. The four main characters of the movie face many challenges together throughout their adventure to find this Emerald City, which will include angry trees throwing fruit at them, poppy fields that make them sleepy, and angry monkeys ready to rip them to shreds. The four friends eventually make it to Emerald City, where they meet the all-powerful Oz that asks them to return to him the Wicked Witch of the West broomstick in exchange for their wishes granted. They then lead the expedition into the haunted forest. To find the witch and take her broomstick. But instead, the group encounters more resistance from the witch's wicked monkeys, and Dorothy is apprehended by the witch and separated from the others. The Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion are then forced to find a way into the witch's castle, where they are eventually taken captive by the witch's soldiers. The Wicked Witch then sets fire to the Scarecrow to burn him alive. In an unexpected exchange, however, Dorothy throws water to extinguish the fire and splashes the witch, which causes her to die and melt to the floor. Everyone was happy the Wicked Witch was gone, including her own minions. Dorothy and the group then head back to return the witch's broom to the powerful Oz, only to find out he was a complete fake and a phony. However, the wizard enlightens the group and shows the members that he can give them exactly what they had been looking for all along. He grants the Scarecrow a degree, which makes him an instant PhD. He awards the Lion a Medal of Honor, which instantly gives him courage. He gives the Tin Man a heart clock and lets them know they are all perfect as they are. He then attempts to give a ride to Dorothy in his air balloon, but ends up leaving Dorothy behind on the ground as he rises. Fortunately, Glinda, the good witch, can get Dorothy back home by clicking her heels 3 times, but not before giving a heartfelt goodbye to all of her dear friends. And that's the end of the story. Let's talk about complex response systems in The Wizard of Oz. In The Wizard of Oz, the 4 main characters, or system agents, make up one complex adaptive system. Each agent possesses different personal qualities and decision-making skills on how they should behave or interact with one another. However, through direct interaction with one another throughout the story and sharing the common goal and overall objective of meeting the wizard for their individual need, their shared interactions lead to emergent behavior. The group could not have made it to see the wizard had it not been for each member's individual contributions. One example would be the Cowardly Lion. He is a coward on his own, but when grouped with the other 3 agents, his behavior adapted and evolved. Most of the storyline in this movie is the group facing extreme danger constantly, and a coward will not be able to complete such a daunting task. The four characters were able to make up a dynamic group that worked together and were able to organize, learn, and evolve throughout the story. Complex response systems. Throughout the movie, The Wizard of Oz, the entire land of Oz knows the wizard to be all powerful and knowing, which shows a hierarchical power structure within the land of Oz. The residents understood that the wizard and witches oversees the communities, and it seems the residents have no problem with the power structure. However, within the movie, they only show the Munchkin people and the residents of Oz that were living within the castle. Whenever Dorothy and her group arrive to meet the wizard, they are met with designated worker groups, which are likely instilled by the Wizard of Oz himself. One other thing to note is that when Dorothy kills both witches and the individuals that were under their control are happy and willing to change their culture. They have the shared organized knowledge and dynamics. As a resident of Oz considered the power of Oz to be above everyone and have authority. This is a consensus thought throughout the movie. They have a hierarchical power structure with Oz, and the residents of Oz have different witches, which is a norm and are accustomed to their disturbances. In conclusion, The Wizard of Oz was a fun movie to watch and analyze. I thought the characters group was a great example of complex adaptive systems, and it was interesting to see all of the characters develop and displace the actual characteristics of which they supposedly never had. Overall, I enjoy watching the movie and completing the assignment. Thank you. Here are my citations.